guys, so today's video is all about school organization and what I did when I was in school. It's actually been a process. When I was in high school I did it one way, when I was in college I did another, and then when I was in a grad school I did it a completely different way. So it's something that has evolved over time for me, and I have to say that it took me a while to actually figure out what works for me. Just like with anything, makeup, whatever, what works for me isn't going to necessarily work for you. You have to figure that out. The easiest way I can say is to find out what kind of learner you are. This is the teacher talking in me, and that will help you decide how to study and how all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to show you what I did and kind of tell you what I did in high school, what I did in college, and what I did in grad school. So the first thing I think is super important is to have notepads. Now in high school I just used loose leaf paper because you were turning in stuff and things like that. But in college and grad school I used these. I had one for each subject, and I would just have notes in here. So these would just be my in-class notes, and they would be in order, and that's all that was in these. These two are so cute, aren't they? Look at how cute they are. They were at the 99-cent store. They have a whole bunch of really cute stuff. So I picked these up. So I would have one for each subject and just have my notes in there. When I was in high school, I had a folder. I usually used a bigger one, probably like a 1.5 inch folder that had all my classes in it, except for the classes that of course require you to have a different binder. And then I would just use the little tabs and have one for each class. Now that kind of worked for me then, but I was just learning to organize. And what I did in college was I had two folders, the big ones, or not, yeah, the big ones, the big 1.5, and I would have all my Monday, Wednesday classes in one folder, and all my Tuesday, Thursday classes in another folder, and Friday usually meant it was a Monday, Wednesday class. And that way when I went to school, all I had to do was grab one folder and didn't have to worry about it, and I would have a section that would be my notes, where I would, you know, put this one of these in there, and then I would have a section for essays, handouts, and then tests. I didn't actually have a lot of tests. With my degree, I have a history degree, and so I had a lot of essays, so essays/tests. So I had 3 sections for each class, and most binders had 2 classes in them. So that's what I did in college. In grad school, I still used my cute little pads, but I didn't really need a folder because in grad school you don't have, I don't know, you mostly take notes. There aren't a lot of handouts and things like that. So I would actually just have a little folder like one of these. This one I actually did use. And I would just put my papers or tests in here, and usually only had, I think, 2 classes at the top. So you could have one for each class or one side for each class. It would be up to you. So that's what I did for organization. Then another big thing I did, and this is something I started in college, and that is to get a little academic planner. And I still use these today, even though I'm not in school. Even though I have like my iCalendar and all that stuff, I still like to write it down, because sometimes you forget or you don't look at it, and it's just so much easier to look at these. So what I would do was I would always make sure there's a monthly and then the weekly. And what I would do is get my syllabuses and write out all when assignments were due and when there would be tests. And I would have a different color pen for each class. And then if it was a test, I would highlight it in one color. And then if it was like an assignment that was due, or like an essay, I would do it highlighted in another color. I know that seems weird, but that's just how I did it, because I would also put, you know, my social events and stuff in here, and by having it highlighted with the other color would catch my eye. So I'd be like, oh, I can't go out the night before because I have a test. Then I would transfer the stuff from my monthly into my weekly. And I pretty much still do that today. Let's see. Yeah, so this is what like August looks like for me. I didn't have much to do. But yeah, so I think a planner is definitely a must-have. Now, as far as like extras, these are just things I don't think you have to have. The rest of the stuff is stuff, you know, I think you should have, and you can do it the way you want. But these are kind of just extras. I like having a clipboard because I sometimes don't do my work like at a table, and so it's easiest to have one of these, and you can put it in your backpack, and you can just be like sitting somewhere like in a comfy couch or at the library in a comfy couch or whatever, and still do your work and it still looks neat. And yeah. And then for at home, I saw these a few months ago, and I picked a whole bunch of them up, but they were in the Target bargain bins. And these are those little cute file magazine rack or magazine holders, and I like them for filing stuff. And then they had, I hope these don't glare too much, I should have pulled them out, but they had these really cute folders. There's $1 for these two, and then there's these. And you could do one class, like a one for each class. That way you can like have like past stuff, like after you've had a test, you don't necessarily want to have that stuff in your folder, you know, if you have a small folder, but you want to keep it, so you could organize it in these cute little folders and then have them on your desk on here. So those are my back to school organization tips, and I hope you like them. And if you have any questions or want to see any other kind of more in-depth organization, just let me know and I will do a video on it. I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.